Good evening, everyone. I am Maria Lang, Assistant Principal over Guidance. I want to welcome you and thank you for joining us for our annual C.A.K.E Night, our College Application Knowledge event. With us tonight is Mr. Paul Durden, our MAPS Coordinator, and Miss Amy LaMagdalene, our Mosley Gulf Coast State College Navigator. Our objective for tonight is to walk you through the college application process by breaking it down into steps. If you have any questions during our presentation, you can text them to 850-404-9377. We will respond to these questions at the end of our presentation. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Miss Amy to get us started.
Thank you, Miss Lang. Hi, everyone. My name is Amy LaMagdalene, or as the students know me, Miss Amy. I work for Gulf Coast State College as a Pathway Navigator, and I also get to serve Mosley High School as a College and Career Advisor. Tonight, my role is to really introduce and educate you on the different types of education that's out there. I've seen in my last few years of working with students that a lot of them have this idea that after graduation, college is either 4 years or nothing, and they don't know all the different options out there. So there's not just one type of path, one type of school, one type of education, and I think knowing what's available to you is the best place to start. So let's first look at the different types of degrees you can get after you graduate high school. So as you see in this tier, you have your high school diploma. After that, you get a certificate. Then there's associate degrees, then bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, then professional or doctoral degrees. And then from there, we're going to see the best example of certificates locally would be Haney Technical Center. Certificates are going to be programs that are no more than 24 months long, and within them you are learning a skill or receiving a license to get into a trade that you can go directly into your career with. Then after that we have associate degrees, and most commonly there are two different types of associate degrees, the Associate of Arts degree and the Associate of Science degree. Most students are familiar with the Associate of Arts degree, which is a 2-year degree that covers mainly your general education classes and then leaves room for prerequisites that you can transfer to a university and continue into a bachelor's program. Associate of Science degrees also have some general education, but their main focus is to teach a technical skill that you can also use to go into employment, or you can use that and transfer to a university as well. With the associate degrees, the Associate of Art degrees, as you see on the next slide, the state of Florida has what's called the Florida 2+2 Articulation Agreement. This is such a benefit to students who go to a community or state college. What it's saying basically is if a student receives an Associate of Arts degree, they are guaranteed into one of the 12 public universities in the state of Florida, and all of their courses must transfer. On the next slide, I'm not going to read everything about the articulation agreement, but if you get to pause this or take a screenshot of the slide, you can read all of the articulation agreement and what that entails for the student and the benefits they receive by receiving their AA first. On the next slide, we see an outline of the Associate of Arts degree, and I know it's kind of small to see. Students have received a copy of this in an email from Ms. Bergens, but they can also receive a copy of it from their guidance counselor or from me at school. But this Associate of Arts degree outline kind of shows the different areas of the general education and the electives that students need, and they can check off as they receive each of them. It just kind of clarifies what classes are offered and where they fit. An AA degree is a puzzle, and I think students sometimes just know an AA degree is 60 credit hours, and they don't realize that you must have certain classes under certain disciplines. So by knowing what the roadmap is of an AA degree, students can make sure that they are taking the correct classes to help them as they advance into their bachelor's level program or whatever level of education they plan to go into after high school. On the next slide, you see the 28 different colleges that are the Florida college system. So as we said with the articulation agreement, a student can go and get an Associate of Arts degree at any of the 28 community or state colleges, and that articulation agreement is for any school. Students don't have to stay in Panama City and go to Gulf Coast. They can go off to any of the 28 colleges in Florida, receive their AA, and then that still allows them access into one of the 12 public universities. So if a student is ready to leave Panama City but they're not ready to step on the big campus of a university, I encourage them to look at the 28 different community and state colleges throughout the state to continue their education. Next, we're talking about the college search. So most students, if they're seniors, they kind of have an idea of the different colleges there are, but if a student is still wondering what college might be best for them or just want to know a little bit more about colleges, there's great college search websites out there. 3 of the ones I typically refer students to are C.A.K.E, Florida Shines, and Big Futures on the College Board website. As you're starting to look at the types of schools you want to go to, it's wise to keep them within 3 different categories: a safety school, a match school, and a reach school. As you can see, a safety school is one that you are pretty sure and confident you will get into based on where your GPA and your test scores lie compared with the other students and the requirements of the school. A match school is going to be one where you are matching the requirements that incoming freshmen are meeting or must meet. And then a reach school is one where maybe your GPA doesn't quite reach what other students have going in or your test scores as well. But as you'll learn throughout this evening's program, it's not just about your GPA and test scores. So it's okay to have that reach school, the one that's your dream, that you're not sure if you'll get into, but you're going to try and see how it goes. Real quickly, I'd like to click through some slides of C.A.K.E so you can see what a college search website might look like. I really like C.A.K.E. It keeps everything kind of simple to look at. So what you're looking at is my dashboard. I actually made a student profile for myself. I said I wanted to go to schools in college, or go to colleges in Alabama or Florida, and I chose 5 different majors that I was interested in studying because I'm not quite sure yet. The one that you're seeing is marine biology and biological oceanography, and what it shows me at the top is schools in Alabama that have that degree that I'm looking for. On the next slide, you can see I'd chosen my college list. I had listed out several colleges I was interested in, and it gave me a quick snapshot of each of the schools. And then when you click into each school, as you'll see on the next slide, like I clicked on UF, and you can see a quick snapshot of UF and the different statistics about the school. But then you can learn more about it. As you see under the scattergram on the next slide, it shows where I fit amongst students who are denied and accepted. The green dots were students who were accepted, and it plots them out based on their GPA and test scores. The red dots were those who were denied, and then right in the center, that star is me. So it shows that there's some students who were denied that have higher test scores and GPA, and there were some students who had lower test scores and GPA who were accepted. So that's kind of where you get the idea of your match and your reach school, and you kind of can see where you fit amongst their other students. As I click through these slides, you can see the ACT and SAT percentiles of these schools. You can look at the tuition and costs of these schools. You can see the fit of the school. So what I tell students all the time in my office is that going to college is not just going to be receiving an education, but you're going to be receiving a new experience, especially if you leave Panama City. But even just leaving Mosley High School and going to Gulf Coast or a local school or a school nearby, you're going to have a new experience. So looking at a school's fit, if it has the environment, the campus life of things that you're interested in, that's also something to consider as you're looking at your schools. And then as you can see here are the Florida University freshman profiles for the 12 universities. And this is based off of their incoming first time in college freshmen from this school year. So this is just a quick snapshot of the schools, what kind of application types they accept, which we will go into a bit later. If the SSAR is required, which we will explain that as well. The GPA, SAT, and ACTs that were the middle 50% of their freshmen. So now as we continue, I would like to hand it over to Mr. Durden, and he is going to go over college vocabulary to kind of help you understand the terms you will come across as you're going through your college applications.
Good evening. Thank everyone again for joining us for our cake night. We're going to talk about some of the college admissions vocabulary that you're going to hear these words batted about a lot. The first one, early action versus early decision. Now, the really important one, early decision, you need to make sure you understand what this is. Early decision is binding. If they accept you, the college, you're agreeing to accept them, as opposed to early action, which simply gives you access to an earlier admission window and earlier notification of the college's acceptance of you. The next term, first time in college. Now this is really important. If you see FTIC somewhere with the word scholarship after it, depending on the institution, some colleges even have special programs and scholarships for students if it is your first time in college. The next term, deadlines. They're very serious about this. You need to be aware of your deadlines and don't plan for any flexibility. Don't plan on last-minute submissions. Remember, anything could happen with your internet, your technology, whatever. The next term, FAFSA, Free Application for Federal Student Aid. This is an essential step. And remember, when you look at these college prices, I saw one that Miss Amy had up there was $45,000 a year. Remember, nobody pays retail, and FAFSA is what's going to get the financial aid process going for you. The next term, SSAR, Self-Reported Student Academic Record. You are going to enter your academic record, and if admitted, provide a transcript. You need to be very careful with this. Allow lots of time. Make sure you are alert and not tired or anything like that. Use a paper unofficial transcript to enter your information while you sit at your computer or device. Just take your time and be careful. This is nothing to fear. And to get that unofficial college transcript, you can see Mrs. Johnson in the MAPS office. We're happy to provide that for you. That's one of the things you will need to complete it. The next term that you want to be aware of is admissions officer. This is your friend in the process of college admission. The better they get to know you, the better decision they can make. Make sure that you avail yourself of the opportunity to get acquainted with college admissions officers. They typically are up to date with modern technology and use text, email, and all that regularly associated with students. The next term, you'll see this a lot with dorms, co-ed. Some dorms are co-ed by building or floor or room. Make sure you understand what options you're choosing, a traditional dorm, a quad, an apartment, or whatever option they're offering. Once you've paid for it, it's kind of hard to change after that. The next thing I want to mention is college visits and demonstrated interest. Now, you know this is going to look different in 2020 in the land of COVID. So a lot of it is still the same. You need to communicate with college admissions officers. Remember who that is? That was your friend in the process. Make sure that you reach out by email, text, phone. They typically are willing to use all three. And applying early shows your interest. Advocate. Guys, you have to be your own advocate. Talk to the college admissions officers about your situation. Do not automatically exclude yourself. With a holistic admissions process being used by some of the schools, the overall picture may be what gets you in. You want to be one of those green dots. Dare to dream. Be realistic, but at the same time, let the colleges be the one to tell you no, not yourself. Meet the recruiters. We have had quite a few virtual visits this year. All are well advertised on Canvas, DTV, and social media, and there are a few left. We would like to restart the MAPS College Road Trip when our world gets back to normal or closer to it anyway. With the pandemic, colleges typically have upped the game on their websites and their virtual tours, not to be confused with virtual visits with the admissions officers where they're showing you around the campus. We have participated in some really high quality visits this year virtually. College Fair at Gulf Coast State College is another option for you to find out key information. Also, before you attend a virtual visit, I would advise you to research key facts. Know your stuff ahead of time. This way you don't waste your time asking things that are fact-based and clearly stated on the website. For example, you would not want to ask, are freshmen allowed to drive on campus when that's clearly stated on the website? You could ask things that are more focused on your education and be better prepared in that respect. Next, I will pass it over to Mrs. Lang, and she's going to talk to you more about the materials you'll need for the college application process.
Once you have identified your college or universities, you're ready to begin the application process. You will need some important information. You will want a copy of your high school transcript, including your current schedule of classes, for the purposes of completing your college application and SSAR for specific universities. You can use an unofficial transcript, which you can get from Ms. Johnson in the MAPS office or Mrs. Reeve in the guidance office. At the end of your senior year, you will request an official copy to be sent to your college. We'll remind you of that at the end of the year. You will need your activities list. colleges and universities want to see how you've been spending your time. Be prepared to give a brief description of your extracurricular activities, including the number of hours per week you are involved. You will also be asked to enter your SAT and/or ACT scores, specifically the highest score earned in each category for the Common App. You do need to have those scores sent directly from College Board and/or ACT. Also, make sure you have your counselor and recommenders information, contact information, including email. Most college applications ask for specific information about your high school. Here are some of the key information you will need. The C.A.K.E code is a unique code for Mosley High School. That is 101-357. Most of you already have your graduation date posted on the calendar. That is May 20th, 2022. Our graduating class size this year is 402. When they ask for your class rank reporting, you will indicate that it is exact. Our class rank weighting is based on a weighted GPA. The GPA scale score is 4.0. Our GPA weighting is weighted, and our course scheduling system is by semesters. You'll next need to identify which application you will use. Some universities require you to complete your application directly through their institution. Other universities give the student the preference. The Common App is a widely used application that allows you to apply to any of the 900 colleges and universities that are member institutions. The Common App allows you to complete one application to apply up to 20 colleges or universities. Keep in mind that each university may have a supplemental section to complete. We're going to walk through the basics of the Common App. Once you create your account, you will have your dashboard. If we have any parents joining us tonight, I want to let you know that you can actually create your own practice account so you can follow the student process and see what your student is experiencing. From the dashboard, you can click on the tab to search for the college or colleges you want to apply to. Once you have added the universities that you're going to apply to, you'll be able to see their specific information, including contact information and application deadlines. To begin the application process, simply click on the Common App tab and begin. We encourage you to take your time. Having gathered and organized your information in advance will make this process much easier. Profile and family sections will ask you for your basic information, including contact information and demographics, and if you need to request a fee waiver. In the education section, you'll include your high school information, including your current courses, the size of your senior class, GPA, and ranking. You'll refer to your transcript for this information. Make sure, again, you have your testing scores handy and you have your activities list so you can refer to that and enter that information in. When you get to the writing section, you'll see that each college or university will specify whether an essay is required or not. The essay demonstrates your ability to write clearly and concisely on a selected topic and helps you distinguish yourself in your own voice. What do you want the readers of your application to know about you apart from your classes, grades, and test scores? Choose the option that best helps you answer that question and write your essay using no more than 650 words. Here's a sample of 4 of the 7 essay prompts. Mr. Durden is going to provide you with some tips shortly to help you in the writing process. The Common App has also added a section to elaborate on how recent events such as COVID-19 and natural disasters such as Hurricane Michael have impacted you. When I go back to my dashboard, I can see where I am in my application process. Keep track of your admission deadlines and make sure you carefully review your application before submitting. Now I'm going to hand it back over to Mr. Durden so he can provide you with some tips.
I'd like to begin by asking you a question about your essay. If you were to drop your essay on the floor in your high school and someone were to pick it up, if it didn't have your name on it, would someone that knows you say that it is yours? That question mark is from Georgetown University, their admissions officer. So the point is that college essay is about you. Be sure to talk about the strengths that define you. If you are organized, talk about how that helps you. If you are a person that perseveres and does not give up easily, talk about that. If you work well with others in leadership roles, talk about that. If you have a proven track record organizing projects, talk about that. Here's another quote from, this time, University of Florida admissions officer. Make sure the essay is about you. He said, "If you write about Grandma and all the wonderful things she's done for you over the years, I would want to then admit her to University of Florida, not you. Grandma could be in your story, but make sure the story is about you. This is the time to brag on yourself and share information that will help them know you and what you are about. A prompt may be given, and of course you want to be sure and address that, but at the same time, let them know all about you. Don't waste words, but instead, use your words carefully. There is normally a word limit. If it doesn't help them understand who you are and what you've done, don't waste words with themes like go team or go Garnet and Gold. This just takes up space and it's not going to make any difference in your mission decision. This is really important, guys. Take it seriously. The essay, if applicable, is one of the single most important pieces of your evaluation process, especially as more colleges move towards holistic evaluation. Remember, if all else is comparable with GPA and testing, your essay can make the difference and distinguish you from your peers. You don't want to miss your chance here by not taking it seriously. I have a good example from a college admissions officer of what it looks like to not take it seriously. The prompt was posed: what is one law you would change if it were within your power? A student wrote about eliminating speed limits for boats on inland waterways because manatees should just get out of the way. Needless to say, that student was not admitted, and from what the college admissions officer shared with us, they otherwise were a very strong candidate. Other information. If you don't tell them, they won't know. Did your grades fall last year during quarantine, but you're now doing much better? Tell them why. Did your family suffer economic harm due to the coronavirus and you had to go to work full-time to help out? Tell them about it. They're not going to know anything that you don't tell them. And of course, always tell the truth. Make sure you don't waste time and words here with information that's already available to them in your academic record or elsewhere on the application. No need to state your GPA, test score, AP classes taken, etc. in the essay. They already have that information and you have used up words unnecessarily. Let's talk about building your high school portfolio. It may or may not be a literal portfolio. Some people still use pencil, paper, notebook, copies, etc. That would be me. Others prefer electronic devices. The point is, if you wait till your senior year, you will not remember everything or even enough to be able to find the documentation you need at that point. I would encourage you to get involved with meaningful activities in your school and community at the earliest opportunity, even your freshman year. Do things that bring fulfillment and meaning to your life and the lives of others. Don't do things to just check off a box. And document, document, document. Did I say document? As you choose your classes throughout high school, keep in mind that college admissions officers compare your schedule to the realm of what was available in your school. Choose carefully. Now about letters of recommendation. First of all, make sure that you're going to need one for the application that you're doing. Some colleges require or some colleges accept them as optional. Make sure you establish and build positive relationships with your teachers. It would be difficult for them to write a letter of recommendation about someone they don't really know and who never said anything in class. Make sure you ask potential recommenders weeks in advance so they have plenty of time to write a wonderful letter of recommendation just for you. You can volunteer in areas that you might have interest when thinking about your choice of professions. These kind of experiences are invaluable and help distinguish you again from your peers. If you think you don't test well, then keep on testing. College admissions officers want to see that if you don't have a great score, that you took every opportunity to improve upon that score. That could again be the one thing that shows them your initiative and interest and willing to do whatever is necessary. One of our two tests that colleges typically look for is the ACT. It consists of English, math, reading, science. Test preparation. In the past, we have had an ACT boot camp. I'll talk more about that. There is a free study guide at act.org. And there's another resource listed, ACT Academy. Fee waivers. We don't want ever for money to be a barrier between you and getting the test that you need. So we do have fee waivers available for the ACT, and you can ask any of us in the front office about it, and we'll be glad to help you. Important date, December 11th will be the next ACT. And we do hope to start offering our ACT boot camp as soon as the pandemic allows. In the meantime, you can consider some of the other resources and online options. The SAT is the other test. It consists of reading, writing, and math. You'll notice there's no science. Same kind of options for test prep. collegeboard.org has a huge amount of resources. Khan Academy, lots of videos, resources. They will check and see where your strengths are and help you work on that. The same with your weaknesses. And again, we have the fee waivers available if you have a demonstrated financial need. Our next test date is November 6th. So don't hesitate to ask for a fee waiver if you think you might qualify. And often students ask, which test is better, the ACT or the SAT? The answer is yes. I would recommend that you try both of them, see which one you do better on. A lot of colleges do accept both of them. And again, you'd want to check on the individual college. At this time, I'm going to turn it back over to Mrs. Lang, and she's going to tell us some more information and close us out.
Thank you again for joining us this evening. Before we start with our question and answer session, I want to let you know our next event will be our FAFSA Scholarship Information Night on October 21st. It will take place in person at 6:30 p.m. in the Mosley MMTC. We will have a financial aid officer to share the process and assist in the computer labs as you start your FAFSA application. Miss Amy will be visiting your econ or government classes over the next 3 weeks to help you get started with your FAFSA application. We'll provide additional details soon. Now for our question and answer session. If you didn't have the opportunity to text us your questions earlier, you can go ahead and text them now to 850-404-9377.